In NumPy, there are different mechanisms for creating arrays. And in this video, we will cover 3 commonly used methods for ND array creations. First of all, we can convert Python sequence to NumPy arrays, just like what we've done so far. And the second way is to use a functions that is another intrinsic NumPy array creations by using some functions such as arrange, ones or zero, and etc. And then finally, we can also replicate, join, or mutating existing arrays to create another ND array. Let's go through this example one by one. First thing first, we import the NumPy as NP. Here we create a list that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we try to understand the types of this list. Of course, it's a list type. And similarly, we can actually convert a Python sequence that is this sequence with the functions of np.await to convert it into a NumPy array. And that is the first method, converting a Python sequence to NumPy array. And then this is the list, or this is the sequence, and then use that functions to convert it into a 1D NumPy array. So let's run this out. You can see that in the first types we have a list, and then with the use of the functions np.array, we can actually create a NumPy ND array. And similarly, we can create a matrix or a 2D array. Here, that is the list of the list, and so you can see that the class is still a list. Here, let me change a little bit in order for me to create a 2D array. If I run this out, and you can see that now we have a 2D array. And then similarly, because we just applied these functions, we can convert a Python sequence to NumPy array. And here we have a 2D array. And of course, we can also use other functions to create a NumPy ND array. The first is the arrange, and also we can use zeros and also I functions to create a NumPy array. Let's say, for example, if I run this out, and you can see that all of them are actually a NumPy array. Say, for example, if I convert, let me show you the types for the range. Here you can see that this is a NumPy ND array, and then for the zero, for the array 0, you can see this is an other NumPy array. And finally, of course, we can also show you this array identity, that is an other NumPy array. And this is the second method. And finally, we can also create an NumPy array by replicating, joining, or mutating existing array. So for example, here we have an array that is a 1D array, that is a X, that is an 1D array. And then if I use a functions and then make a reference to these X values from 1 to 3, and then we can actually create a array. Here I want to show you what do we mean by using a reference Y. Here you can see that if I run the cell, this is first of all, this is the original NumPy ND array. And then for the second array, we make reference to X by creating a Y ND array. And then if we we add something to X and the array because we just make a reference to it. So the Y and the array will also have the same have the same additions mathematic operations performed. So here we just add 10, that means add 10 to X because it's a reference, so we will also add 10 to Y. And so you can see that although they are the same and the array, but they actually refers to the same and the array, that is X at this in this example. On the other hand, we can also use a copy functions. And then here we are not making a reference to the to X and the array. We actually create a new and the array by using a copy functions. And now you can see that the X array is created and then by the first methods, and then we can create an X array by using we can create a Z array by using a copy functions and by copying X and the array. So now we have an X array and also a Z array, and then we can plus 10. Here you can see that because this is a copy, that means these 10s will not be added to this Z and the array. Finally, just like what I mentioned before, we can actually joining joining and the array, and then with some values, and then in order with some other list or some other sequence, and then to put them into a new array. Here we just because Z and Y are already array, we can use a vertical stack to create another array. And similarly, we can also use a horizontal stacking to create a horizontal stacked array. Now you can see that if I run these functions, you can see that because this is a, let me check that out. This is the Y, this is the value of Y, and then horizontally we add a Z, that is another ND array. So we have one array and then we have a second array vertically stacked together. So we have a 2 by 2 ND arrays and up. And for horizontal stacking, we have these Y value, and horizontally we stack Z with the Y so that we can keep the original shape that is a 1D array. But of course, right now we have 4 elements within this new array. Now we understand different ways to create a ND arrays. In the next video, let's learn about how we can extract and select the data from an ND array by indexing and slicing. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.